everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Words I Choose to Live By. I'm Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We're about to connect in with our friends over on Amazon Live for today's program. We were just saying to the rest of the crew, we're in week number 25. We've been doing this show a long time, and we're glad you all could be with us. We want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, on LinkedIn. We also have our friends at YouTube and Twitter today. It's a great week today, I think, for all of us. And as we're kind of going throughout it, we hope you will share your thoughts as well. We will have the chat open. Then go ahead and check just a couple of settings here on Facebook just to make sure we're all set. And then we're going to go ahead and connect with Amazon and get started. Make sure that we're set to public there. All set there. And we want to welcome you all to this week's episode of Words I Choose to Live By here on Amazon Live. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by Mary Ellen Ciganovich, Darius Ewing, and Melissa Banks. Today we're discussing week number 25 from my book. You all see it there, Words I Choose to Live By. It's an interesting topic for us to be able to get into today, and we definitely want to have your thoughts. If you're joining us on Amazon Live, keep in mind, if you're not doing so already, make sure you guys give us a follow. You'll find the follow button below us. Also, you'll find all of our books also below in the carousel. I'm highlighting my book, Words I Choose to Live By now. Seems like we may have lost Mary Ellen there for a second. We're going to try to get her back. But Darius, Melissa, how are you?
Doing great. How are you today?
Hey, doing really good. Doing really good. It's hard to believe we've been at this now for 25 weeks.
Right.
You know, I didn't go to college, but I think that was half a year. So, you know, but don't trust me. But we're going to go ahead and read today's topic. It's up for the challenge. No matter what challenges come your way this week, try to remember that the teacher reserves the most difficult assignments for those students he knows can pass the test. I love this, and I think for myself, I have not always appreciated this the way I do today. I've never been a why me type of person, though. I've never been someone who wonders, why does this happen to me or why am I going through this? But I think sometimes when we're faced with different situations and circumstances, I think it's an obvious thing for us to ask, what's going on here? Did I do something wrong? Did I take a wrong path somewhere? But I think for us to reframe the way we look at challenges is so important. Darius, I'm going to kick off with you. How important has that been for you to rethink the way you look at the difficulties you have in life?
Man, first off, I had to learn how to adjust my vision. A lot of times we see things with our eyesight, and what it looks like, what it look like it is really not. And we sometimes focus on the not and miss the lesson of it. We miss the lesson of the why because our focus is somewhere else. Um, it's at times like it's a tough pill to swallow.
Mhm.
It is a hard pill to swallow, but you have to remember the same God that brought you through the last test, who helped you pass those first 5, 6 tests, is the same God that's taking you through this test and who's gonna help you pass this one. And so, adjusting your vision and adjusting your surroundings, because a lot of people will see what you're going through and they'll get to pouring the wrong things into you or trying to pour the wrong things when all they're there for is just to comfort you
Hmm.
while you're going through the process. So, yeah, it's your intake and your vision is key.
It's a really good point there. When you were talking, Darius, I thought about Job and how he had his false comforters there, and he was already dealing with a lot. And then you had
Yes.
some that tried to, well, this is your fault. You did something. You're the reason why all these things are happening to
Right.
you. We definitely don't need friends like that. But how important has it been for you, Melissa, then to reframe and rethink challenges? Because I think automatically we think if we're hitting some difficulties or struggle, it must be something wrong or we're in the wrong place. But how important has it been for you to reframe challenges for your life?
Well, sometimes the challenges are there to push us, right? because so many things that have happened in my life, if I wasn't pushed in a certain way or pushed to what's next, I would be comfortable into where I was, right? But I used to say all the time, guys, I used to say, God won't give you more than you can bear. Have you ever heard that before? Well, when I used to say that, I would think, God, you got way too much confidence in me because too much is happening right now and I know I can't bear it. But then, I get through it. I get through it through the next thing and the next thing. And I keep going in spite of. And I think that's the key. And another key is to not focus on the challenges. Focus on your vision, focus on your dream, focus on your trust and believe in God to keep his word, right? So if you believe him to keep his word, you know that things are going to work out in your favor. So to keep going. And that was one of my biggest challenges, is not to just catalog all the things that wasn't going right, all the things that wasn't moving me forward. If you sit down and just catalog all the negative, then that's what you're going to feel. And you can't feel negative and say you trust God to do what he says he's going to do. So that was my biggest challenge, is not to just look at what was going wrong, but to look at my dream, my vision, and my faith in God. And another thing that helps me is to help somebody else. When you pour into somebody else, even if things are going crazy with yourself, but if your focus changes and you begin to help somebody or you encourage somebody through a difficult time, that helps you push through all the challenges as well.
Yeah, such a great point. I got a message from Mary Ellen. Says that she's here, but she's not showing up yet. Mary Ellen, I'm going to ask you if you can hear us, though, to refresh your screen to see if it might show you in the queue. It's not showing you right now in the queue. But I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, you're watching Words I Choose to Live By. I'm Cyrus Webb, the author of the book by that name. You all see it there. Also joined by, you just heard from Melissa Banks and also Darius Ewing. We're discussing week number 25 in my book, Up for the Challenge. And the point I want to go back to, and Darius, I'm going to bring you in for this, and we're going to keep watching out for Mary Ellen there, is this point of it, and that is the teacher reserves the most difficult assignments for those students he knows can pass the test. I think about Joseph a lot, and I think about how so much happened to Joseph that had nothing to do with him. He was hated by brothers. They then were going to kill him. Then they ended up selling him into slavery. He then was lied on. That brought him difficulties. He was forgotten, once he was going through. So, and yet he was able to say to his brothers, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. How does that make you feel, Darius, to think about that these things are only strengthening you for what's to come?
I have to look back over my life and look back over my career. I'm just 40. But I've been to Iraq. I've been overseas. I've been trained in how to do certain things. I've been prepared, per se, on how to do certain things. Growing up in the church, grandmother Christian educator, mama Christian educator. So, I was at the church whenever they opened the doors. So I was there. So I learned how to do a lot. And as I got older, I started going through tests and trials that I was already prepared for. But had I not had my faith and trust in God, I would have missed that point, that I was actually prepared for it. I had to learn that everything that we go through, God already has it plans out. He has it planned out. He has it mapped out. He prepares us for it before we get to it. And once we settle down and settle in and stop listening to all the rah-rah and the hoopla and start focusing, like Melissa said, and start focusing on the dream and start focusing on the vision, it's a cake. It's a walk in the park. It's like, wow, why can I just do this like this the first time? Or golly, how did I forget that he worked this out for me the last time? And so we can't get amnesia. We can't get spiritual amnesia, per se. We can't forget that God is in control, and the same God that brought us through the last time through a worse situation is the one that's carrying us through this one. And once we realize and remember and keep focusing on the good and not the bad, it's a walk in the park.
Yeah, such a great point. Hello to you, Tamika. Tamika Garrett is joining us on the Facebook side. Again, want to welcome those tuning in on the Amazon Live side as well. As you guys noticed, as Darius was talking there, you noticed that his book was highlighted there. So make sure you guys do check that out. We're going to remind you of that. Also, keep in mind, if you're not following us already on the Amazon Live side, you'll notice below there is a follow button. Make sure you guys give us a follow so you can stay connected with all of our programming we have throughout the week. Melissa, what about that for you? I mean, of course, and I don't want to minimize anything anyone is going through because when you're going through it, it seems bad. I mean, regardless of what it is, it seems bad. And people can say to you, and I sometimes think I have had to catch myself in this and say, oh, you're going to be fine. Don't worry, don't let that get you down. And it's very easy for us to say that and yet not knowing their situation or being in their situation. But how does it help you to know that you are being prepared for greater things, Melissa?
Well, I was thinking when you was talking. Now, when you are going through these challenges, and the thing is they don't come one little challenge and then way down the road you have another one. It would be easier to deal with, right? Oftentimes they come right behind each other, and it seems like you've been being bombarded with challenges and with things that are not going well. And then you start to feel exhausted because you're focusing on all these things that are coming to you. So it's not easy. And I don't even want to give the impression that when challenges come my way, it's easy for me to focus on God and focus on the word. It's effort. It's intentional. Yeah. It's feeding your mind with the positive. It's feeding your mind with things that in life that are going well. It's reflecting over those hard times that you've been through already and God brought you through and you're still standing. It is effort. It is not easy. Nobody, and I wouldn't believe anybody that stood up and said that it was easy because it's not, because, things happen to you. Back a long time ago, I believe that if you had the right relationship with God, then your life would be easy. Things would happen easy for you. It would just come to you and it would be good. But as I grew and went through a whole lot of really hard stuff, and God still brought me through that hard stuff, I know that I'm a child of the King and that he loves me and that he's going to get me through those things and bring me out better than I was when I went in it. But those things you have to speak to yourself in the middle of the trials, in the middle of the challenges. You speak it to yourself until you get through it. And know that he's going to bring you through it. If you trust in him, do the work that he put before you to get you to where you want to be. Be intentional, believe it, and speak it out loud.
Yeah. And I think that's really the big key here, right? I mean, to us to be intentional and to realize, for one, that this is not only is it bigger than us, but that we can rely on something bigger than us, right? And I think that is the big thing. And Edie says, thank you for this today. Look forward to these shows every Monday. Thank you for that, Edie. Appreciate that. Appreciate you watching us on the Facebook side there. But I think that is a big message for our audience because, again, I have been accused, and rightly so at times, because a lot of times I used to say all the time, I'll hear somebody going through something, and I'll say, I know exactly what you feel. Now, very few people call me out on that. But my brother, who looks for every opportunity and seizes on every opportunity to correct me, he said to me one day, he was talking about something. I said, well, yeah, I know what that's like. You don't know what that's like? I was like, well, dang. I was trying to be empathetic to the situation. But, we have to be careful even in that because we never want to minimize anything anyone is going through, especially as we kind of look over these past 18, 19 months. People have been going through a lot of stuff, losing loved ones, losing jobs, and losing their faith in humanity because of the way people have been acting. But I think the important thing for me in this is to realize that it's bigger than all of that. And that's what I wanted to really share in this particular message is that, we are being prepared for something greater if we take the class, if you're willing to take the class and to do the work. So, Melissa, I want to ask you, what is your message then for our audience? What do you want them to realize about the importance of recognizing where they are, but knowing how far they can go?
But I talk about, and you've heard me talk about this before, that what I call my defining moment was the moment that I lost the job that I thought I would have forever. I had invested in the company. I felt like I was secure. I was a single parent. I was preparing myself. until one day I walked in and the National Guard met me at the door, and I no longer had that security. I no longer had that job. And it wasn't a 2 weeks notice. It was a 15-minute notice to leave the building because those positions had been eliminated. My world felt like it was crashing down, right? But in the midst of that moment, somehow God spoke to my spirit, and I knew that I would be okay. That was a defining moment in my life. That was when I knew that even when it felt like and seemed like the world was coming apart, God was still right there to pick me up, and he already had the plan. It didn't surprise him that day like it surprised me. He already knew the next step. So many times since then, that's been 20 years ago, and things have not always gone my way, and things have been difficult at many times. But in that moment, I knew then and I know now that God is going to carry me. Now, I'm not saying to you, just sit down and when something happens and wait on God to do it. It doesn't work that way. It does not work like that. It takes the action. Faith without work is dead. And I take that literally. So you get up every single day. You give it the best day that you can give it in that moment. You deal with the hard moments that make you want to say, whew, I can't take anymore. You take a deep breath and you get up and you cause that moment to push you to the next moment. Just look at every challenge as an opportunity to move forward. Sometimes we do have to be pushed. Sometimes I know right now that if God had not pushed me that day, I would not have started a business. I would not have used my voice to encourage and push people. So sometimes those challenges are set there to push you into where you need to be, where you want to be. So you decide that you're going to work through the challenge. You got to work through the challenge. Keep moving towards your dream every single day. You don't get a day off. You have to do one thing towards your dream every day that you jump out of that bed. And then you focus on that and you keep going, even when it's a day that you're getting more no's than you're getting yeses. Even when it's a day that nothing seems to be working for you, but you're looking at your friend over there who has the same business and she is flourishing. Even on those days, you keep your eye on your dream and you keep moving forward. And as long as you do the work, believe in yourself and keep moving, you will get to where you want to be.
Such a great point. Tamika says great words of encouragement, Melissa, and that's so true. It's such a great thing. You referenced something. I'm going to bring you in here, Darius, but you referenced something that is so important, Melissa, and I think it's a dangerous thing for people, especially in the world of social media, and that is comparing themselves to other people. I mean, and I think it's one thing to be inspired by somebody else, but to down yourself because of what you're not doing like somebody else. I think that's the thing I want our audience also to keep in mind, that don't allow, just because someone seems to be in a certain place doesn't mean, one, they didn't have challenges to get there, but two, I mean, they're still not having challenges. They're there. There's a wise poet that said, "More money, more problems," and I believe that. so I believe that you have to, be able to, even in the face of other people's success, realizing that every new level comes with its own challenges. So, Darius, what would you say to our audience about the importance of learning along the way, but not letting where they are today keep them from where they can go?
Man, you why you put me on the spot like that? Look, so because Melissa, that was great words, Melissa. That was encouraging. That just blessed me. I was like, Lord, okay. I'm looking at my book at day 12,
Okay.
and it says, note to self, I never look at how far I've come. Well, I take that back. I never look at how far I have to go because I'm focused on how far I've come. Adjust your vision and it'll change your perception. Trust the process. That's every day. I never look ahead because I'm focused on how far I've gotten. And whatever I've done to make forward momentum, I need to keep doing, especially if it's positive forward momentum. A lot of times we run into situations and we run into stuff and we change the strategy, or we try to change the plan, and we get stuff confused when all we have to do is do what you did that worked the last time. If it worked the last time when you were in the similar situation, when you got up and did the work, and when you went out there to go get it versus sitting down and waiting on it, then that's what you need to do. Because like Melissa said, you can't, when it comes to you, you can't sit back and try to be the punching bag or absorb it. You have to get up. Because that's what you were created to do. You were created to withstand. If it was brought to you, you were created to withstand it. But like Melissa said, God knows He has a plan for every day. He has a plan. He knows. He knows who can handle what situation. He knows who gonna blow a head gasket. He knows who's gonna take it on the chin and smile. And He knows that. So when you get that task, or when you get a certain task, you have to get up and go for it and do it. The quicker you get up and do something about it, the quicker your faith reacts, the quicker you can get through that situation, and you can get to that next level. And you can get to that next step. And that's the only way that works.
Yeah. Such a good point, and it's such a great reminder. And I hope our audience really takes all this to heart because, again, none of us are immune from this. And maybe things may be going well now, but it does not mean challenges will not come. And I think the big thing is, what do you do in that situation? Dennis Perkins is on Facebook. He says, I like the word withstand, and I think that is it. And he puts the emphasis on stand, and that's the thing. I think regardless of what comes our way, making that decision. Again, everyone, we've been discussing week number 25. I'm going to go ahead and highlight myself here for a minute, and highlighting everybody else, and go ahead and highlight me for just a little bit for a spell. My book, there, Words I Choose to Live By, and I highlighted for you guys on Amazon Live. There, we were discussing week number 25. My book is available in paperback, in hardcover, as well as the Kindle edition. Definitely invite you guys to get it if you're looking for some daily inspiration. I also read from it literally 7 days a week. That's actually be reading it 7 days a week on all social media. So make sure you guys do check that out for some great inspiration. But again, it's available right now on Amazon. Darius, I'll bring you back. How can they stay connected with you and, of course, your books?
You all can stay connected with me on social media. That's Darius L. Ewing and Darius Ewing. On Facebook, Instagram is Mr.Ewing1914 on Instagram, and D Ewing1914 on Twitter. You can find my book on Amazon. We're actually in the process of working on a 90-day series. So
right. Exactly.
Great plans.
All right. Looking forward to that, Darius. And Melissa, what about you? How can they stay connected with you and Dream by Design?
As always, we make it really easy for you to reach us at themelissabanks.com. You can purchase our book, Dream by Design, the devotional, which just gives you some really short, really easy to remember and to repeat over and over again, inspirations to help push you forward to the next level. Also, you can find links to our talk show, Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, where women share their struggles and their successes and how they were able to push through it, and how you can too. Every single platform that we are on, Facebook, Instagram, all of that is right there on that one page. You just go to themelissabanks.com.
And Melissa, you have something special that's starting this Wednesday. Why don't you tell our audience about that?
We're super excited for our new show, Cyrus Webb Presents The Melissa Banks Show, where we're going to be sharing some tips, some motivation, some inspiration. We're going to be answering your questions and just having a really good conversation. And hopefully we can give you some tips that you can apply in your business and in your daily lives as you go forward. So tune in Wednesday morning on Instagram at 10:30 Central Time. That's 11:30 Eastern.
Very good. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Melissa, Darius. Mary Ellen, unfortunately, we were having some tech issues with Mary Ellen, but definitely want to make sure you guys get her books, both Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire, and her book, Truth, Taking Responsibility, Unleashes True Healing. I'm highlighting them right now in the carousel there on Amazon Live. You guys have not picked up her two books. She also has a third book that's coming to Amazon this week. So look forward to the details from that coming up very soon. So make sure you guys are checking out Melissa and Darius, as well as Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen can be found at askmaryellen.com. So make sure you guys are following her there. Again, Darius, Melissa, appreciate you all. Another great show. Again, everyone, week number 25. Make sure you guys remember that you are up for the challenge. You can overcome any challenge that comes your way. Just keep the faith and don't give up. Until next week, thank you all for tuning in to Words I Choose to Live By. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care.